All right, let's be on the record. Case number 2018 CR 46, caption State of Kansas versus Phillip W. Reed. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
May it please the court, Christopher Schneider, Assistant District Attorney, appears on behalf of the state of Kansas.
May it please the court, Your Honor, Dwight Alexander on behalf of the defendant, Mr. Reed, who appears via Zoom as well as I.
All right, we are here set down for a hearing on the state's motion for probation revocation. The record should reflect there was an earlier motion filed back in the late spring of 2019. There was a hearing on that in front of Senior Judge Grosco in July of last year. He accepted the defendant's stipulation, gave him a 3-day sanction with credit for that time served, and reinstated him on probation. Subsequent to that, on March 17th of this year, the state caused to be filed another motion for probation revocation with 6 allegations of violation. Mr. Alexander, I would ask you, did you have an opportunity to review that motion, and does Mr. Reed have a position on those allegations?
Your Honor, I had an opportunity to provide that motion to my client. At this point in time, we would stipulate to the violations that are outlined in that motion.
All right, I'll accept that stipulation. Mr. Schneider, do you have comments as to disposition?
Yes, Your Honor. After speaking with Mr. Alexander, I would be amenable to the court revoking the defendant's probation, modifying the sentence to 75 months, and ordering execution of that sentence.
All right, Mr. Alexander.
Your Honor, at this point in time, my client would relish the opportunity to be in a position and such to be placed back on the probation. He stipulated to the violations that are put forth by Mr. Lovin and the state, and understands that those things are serious, but was in a position and such to where he just could not get things together in a form of fashion that would allow for him to, be successful on probation. Prior to the filing, he advises that he was able to obtain employment. He, prior to coming into custody, he was working a job, and that was going to be kind of his pathway forward in order to do the things he needed to do while being placed on said probation. My client would relish the opportunity to prove to the court that he is amenable to probation, but also understanding that he's not hiding from the things that haven't been done in an appropriate fashion, and that would be the basis for his stipulation. So, the request today would be to give him another opportunity to place him on said probation, understanding that he stipulated and violated terms of the probation, which my client admits.
All right. Mr. Reed, anything you want to tell me before? Well, let me go to this. Mr. Lovin, anything to add today to your motion in a summary?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Reed, things you want to tell me before I decide what to do with this case?
Just like to ask for another chance, Your Honor. I understand what is the gravity of what, I'm being, me not registering, not having anything happen. I couldn't get anything together. I just couldn't get it together, and I really want to. I want to be compliant. I couldn't get it together. Please give me another chance.
All right, thank you. Well, look, there's an old saying, fool me once. You were granted probation on this case, and not only granted that probation, but explained the rather large amount of months that were hanging over your head if you didn't do what you needed to do. And then there was that revocation last year. And, they've really designed that tier 1 sanction as a last best chance, right? Let's show the defendant what's in his future if he doesn't start working on the things he needs to work on. And that just didn't take. I get not getting together. If this was an issue of substance abuse or inability to find a job and keep a job and make payments, I might have some sympathy, but not having it together does not excuse blowing everything off. All right. If you go to your probation officer, he tells you you need to get a job, you need to get in substance abuse, to do all this, and you don't do it, that's one thing. But just to walk away for a second time, really, just indicates that the court has no reason to believe that if I extended probation again and gave him another chance, that anything's going to be different. I haven't heard anything that would make me think that. So I'm going to give him a break because it is such a large sentence, and on the recommendation of state's counsel, I will modify the sentence. Was that 75 months you asked for, Mr. Schneider?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to modify the sentence at this time because I have jurisdiction during a revocation to do so. Modify that original 102 months to 75 months. Defendant will be given credit for all the time that he's already served. The other items such as post-release supervision duration and eligibility for good time credit all remain the same. And then this court will impose that new modified sentence. Anything I failed to cover today, Mr. Schneider?
Not that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Mr. Alexander?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Reed, I think we kind of bent over backwards not to do this. And frankly, I do that a lot, as does the prosecutor in the registration cases, because it's a pretty strong sanction for what it is. And so we try not to impose those and give everybody every chance. And I really do feel that you were given plenty of chances to try and get this thing going. And you just were not doing anything. I need you to know this. This is not a registration offense, but you're still going to be required to register under your old offense. So I don't want you getting out after this and going right back and not doing the things you need to do, because you're just going to make this a cycle that never ends, because you'll get charged with not registering again. You'll get probably put back on probation to do that. And if you're not successful, you're just going to be back in. So make sure when you get out, you know what your registration requirements are and you follow those, okay? They're very easy things. Some things in probation are difficult. I understand that, but some things are not. And the same thing that got you your charges to begin with in not registering, again, is an easy thing to go down and do. Ended up making you have to do this sentence, and that's not doing the easy thing, calling your probation officer, going in to see him. So I hope that you spend this time trying to come up with a plan so you can do those things so we don't ever have to see each other again. All right. Other things for our record today.
No, Your
We are adjourned.
Judge?
Good luck to you, Mr. Reed.
Judge,
Yes.
should you advise him of any appeal rights?
Yeah, you have 14 days to appeal my decision to revoke your probation today. Mr. Alexander can advise you more about that. Do you need another breakout room, Mr. Alexander, as we go?
I send a letter, Judge.
Okay, all right. You'll be getting a letter from Mr. Alexander regarding that. All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
We are
Thank you.
adjourned. Good luck, Mr. Reed.